Let's move over to the running backs. Lawrence, I know you want to start with the guy that'll be playing in that Brazil game.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley. It's an important year for him. First year away from the Giants, and everybody talks about he hasn't been good since his rookie year, 2018. Well, I'm saying he's going to have the best season of his career. Now, his rookie year, he had over 2,000 scrimmage yards, 15 touchdowns. But the Giants were 5-11, and they had the 17th best offense in the league. So if Saquon gets 1,600 scrimmage yards and 13 touchdowns, and they're in the playoffs, that's the best year of his career. 1,200 scrimmage yards and 10 touchdowns in only 14 games last season with the Giants, who had the 4th worst offense in the league last year, still was running back 13 in total fantasy points, missing those games included. So I expect Saquon Barkley, who we saw Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift have their best years with the Eagles. I expect Saquon Barkley to do the same. The teams are night and day, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Funny quote from Nick Sirianni at Eagles practice. Yeah, he made a run at practice yesterday, and I just remember I was wearing sunglasses. It was sunny. I was just kind of taking my sunglasses off and looking at a couple of coaches like, all right, this is awesome that we got him here. He's excited to get Saquon going in this offense.
Yeah. He's with sunglasses exposition from Nick Sirianni.
Hey,
it's a very Nick Sirianni quote.
Lawrence, when you're saying, you mentioned how Miles Sanders had his best year as an Eagle, is there a lot of competition for other teams that Miles Sanders had his best year?
No, but I'm curious. We saw Miles Sanders last year, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And just think.
Sometimes we didn't.
And then when you see that, think, man, he ran for 1,200 yards in an NFL season. NFL season. So it's like, you just think, what could Saquon do? Stay healthy, Saquon.
The weird thing is I don't feel like there's a middle ground with Saquon. He's either going to absolutely crush, like you say, or he's just going to be a massive disappointment.
He'll sink it where he took him.
Right, exactly, because it's like, it doesn't feel like he's either going to be like running back 2 or running back like 12. It doesn't feel like he's going to be like running back 5 or 6, which is where he's going. Like 2 or 15, you know what I mean? Like
I said, he was running back 13 last year. If he's running back 12 this year, while that's still a RB1, I would consider that a disappointment.
To me, the reason to feel best about Saquon is that it was the Eagles who gave him all of this money, and the Eagles are, along with the Ravens, perhaps the most analytically savvy organization in the sport. And so it was just so weird that they gave him that much money at that position. And so the fact that they did means I think they see something in him that they can really weaponize him, and that he can be a lot better than DeAndre Swift was, say, for example, which was much more of an Eagles type of signing.
The only question, there's 2 questions. Like, he's going to get massive workload in the run game, and it's going to be the best offensive line, and they're going to be in scoring position more often. Did they give him the ball at the goal line, and did they throw him the ball? Because if they do that, then you're off to the races. That's the only concern with Saquon, is other than health, obviously. If Jalen keeps it at the same rate that he did the last 2 years, that's a problem. And if he throws it to Saquon the way he threw it to DeAndre Swift, which is like almost never, that's also an issue.
Yeah, we could live with the receiving. I think he'll get his near the goal line this season. Got to ease up on Jalen.
Preserve his body. Yeah. Yep. Matthew, what's your running back bold prediction?
This might surprise you, but I went Commanders.
Easy partner.
But everyone's going to say it's a homer pick, and maybe it is a little bit. But I don't think this is. I think this is legit. Again, it's bold prediction time, but I say Brian Robinson scores double-digit rushing touchdowns, 10 or more rushing touchdowns for Brian Robinson, who's going like way late in the middle of drafts. He's going in the 8th or later in drafts. During Cliff Kingsbury's tenure as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, they were top 8 in the NFL in red zone rush rate. Okay, Kenyon Drake, people. Kenyon Drake led the NFL in goal-to-go carries in 2020. In 2021, James Conner was second. Cliff Kingsbury likes to run when they get in close. And I am telling you, I get that Austin Eckler is the bigger name. And I love Austin. He is fantasy friendly. He's a fantasy life investor. We love Austin Eckler. But
didn't take long to get to that.
No, damn right. But when they get in close, like this, Austin Eckler is going to be the Chase Edmonds in this offense. And Brian Robinson is going to be the James Conner. He is very good around the goal line. He is one of the toughest guys in the NFL. Listen, like, if you even told me, like, This is a guy that got shot and was back on an NFL field in 5 weeks later. And he has been very effective around the goal line in his career. And so I think, especially given the rushing threat of Jaden Daniels, and so you're going to have to keep a linebacker on it, I think that's going to open up. I think they'll do some creative things with RPO. 10 or more touchdowns for Brian Robinson this year. He's going to well outperform his ADP.
Jay?
Okay. My prediction is...
No reaction?
I was kind of waiting for one.
Fine. No, it's like commander stuff.
No, but come on. No, but for real though, it's like it's kind of like Gus Edwards, 13 rushing touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
You have the threat of Lamar Jackson pulling that out on the read option. We saw Jaden Daniels already do that. He scored that way. Well, it's either going to be Robinson or it's going to be Jaden Daniels. Pick your poison. So 10 touchdowns, that is very reasonable.
Thank you.
Sure. And I'm on board. All right, my prediction is Tony Pollard finishes as a top 10 running back in fantasy. Now, I think everyone is scared off of Pollard because the idea that it's going to be a 50-50 split with Tajay Spears and the timeshare and everything. Well, 2 years ago, Tony Pollard was in a timeshare where Ezekiel Elliott kept on gobbling up touches, gobbling up touchdowns off of him, and he still finished as as RB8 in Dallas in 2022. So I think that Pollard, from the preseason, from training camp reports, he looks like he's fully back from his broken leg, looks super explosive. So I think that Pollard can bounce back. And if Pollard gets back to the level he was 2 years ago, Tajay Spears not going to be getting 50% of the touches in that offense. Pollard's going to get more as he plays better. So I think that he can be a top 10 running back.
You don't pay Tony Pollard that money if you don't think that. No. And he's had a great summer. You're absolutely right, Jay.
We have seen this talent before. Friend of mine, Ron Chandler, who is a fantasy baseball expert, legend in the space. Anyone remembers Baseball HQ back in the day? So, and a shout out to Ron Chandler. But Ron used to have a rule, and it applying to fantasy baseball, which is once a player displays a skill, they own it. And so, to that point, we have seen Tony Pollard be an elite fantasy running back, literally less than 2 years ago. Last year was a bad year. You mentioned the broken leg off the injury. So I think this is going to be a better offensive line, obviously under Bill Callahan as well. It's going to be a push it forward offense under Brian Callahan. Tajay Spears is going to be there as well, but I like the call. It's a little high, but I mean, Tony Pollard has the talent.
That's bold.
That is definitely bold.
Even with him finishing in the top 10 a couple of years ago, and then you got Tajay Spears there, so it's definitely bold. I do like Tajay Spears a little more, and I don't think he'll have to. Like, I could see Tony Pollard having more touches, but like last year, Tajay Spears was the more efficient runner than Derrick Henry and Tony Pollard for what it's worth, but we'll see. They both in a good spot. Tony Pollard is his best when he don't have to carry the load.
Yes, I would agree with that as well. All right, so hey, out there, audience, Tampa Bay Trey, you listening? All right, Tampa Bay Trey, listen up. All right, go ahead, Connor. What's your bold prediction?
You like this one? Staying on brand. Audric Estime ends the season as the Broncos starting running back. Not Javonte Williams, not Jaleel McLaughlin. Audric Estime, who had over 13 rushing yards, 18 rushing touchdowns for Notre Dame last season in a pro-style offense. 3 Denver running backs had 100-plus touches last season. Samaje Perine out the door. Audric Estime, that little old 5th-round pick, will own this backfield come December.
Yeah, I like it, Connor. A lot of uncertainty in that backfield.
A lot of uncertainty in the backfield. Sean Payton is a guy that's not afraid to mix it up, not afraid to say, you know what, this is the guy that's working. A lot of people forget that when they went into the season, Alvin Kamara was the 3rd running back on that list. I think they had Adrian Peterson and Mark Ingram. Yeah. And everyone was just like, oh, well, Alvin Kamara, like, he's the 3rd down back out of Tennessee. He was a day 3 pick. Yeah, and people were like, whatever.
Because they had Adrian Peterson.
They had Adrian Peterson. That's what I'm saying. They had Adrian Peterson and they had Mark Ingram, and everyone was just like, maybe they'll throw a couple of passes Kamara's way, but whatever. 3 games in, it was the Alvin Kamara show.
You want to target uncertain backfields. This is where like Kyron Williams comes from because he's only got Cam Akers to leap over. So yeah, I think Estime, it's a great call.
Not being taken in the top 60 running backs.
I like Estime. I like Jaleel McLaughlin too for those reasons as well.
Especially
Again,
PPR.
Remember, McLaughlin and Estime are 2 guys that Sean Payton picked. He inherited Javonte Williams. And there's been different reports out of camp about Javonte Williams. They were down on him, now they're back in, but maybe, I like the call. And definitely on brand. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully, respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.